Okay, I'm going to show you or I had a question concerning painting walls and castle walls, kind of the gray type effect. So anyways, I'm going to show you how I did it or do it usually. And I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. Okay, so I'm using a piece of blue Dow type foam. Can't remember what the other stuff is called, coroplast or something like that. Anyways, whatever. I'm using this foam. I'll quit moving around, flicking it around. Sorry. I've coated a couple pieces with goop. Okay. Now, this foam here, I used a hot knife type effect on it. I used what did I use? A wood burning gun, basically one of those soldering gun pens type thing, eh? Now I don't normally do this, but it's kind of quick and easy type thing, especially for larger rock walls. Okay, now this has one coat of my goop on it, and you can see the lines get filled in fairly good. This one here has a couple or three coats on it, and they're not as deep now. They're filled in a little bit more. So every time you coat it with something, your lines disappear a little bit more. Okay, the detail on them, or the depth of them, which is kind of okay. That's one reason why I do this for these big stone walls. Okay, so anyways, painting, I'm going to show a couple of different methods. It all depends on how much time you have and what your materials you have available to you. This would be the same thing if you're doing this out of like plaster cast or something. Let's say you made it, plasticine wall and coated it with silicone type thing, and then you've got a silicone mold and you fill it up with a plaster or whatever. Okay, so different things have different porous ability. So if it's plastic, it kind of affects different, or it depends on what you use for a base coat on it. Now normally I use kind of grays and browns and stuff, always earth tones. So all my mixes, like well, you can see this goop came out brown. So that's because I use in my mix, like this one is gray, gray caulking. But you can get it in brown and white and stuff like that. So I usually use a gray or a brown caulking when I do this. Okay, so or if I'm using a pre-mixed stuff, I will add acrylic paint to it. Like I'll use just some of the this is Crafters acrylic, but not very good for miniatures. I've used it for miniatures. You just have to mix it with stuff to break down the pigments a little bit, but it all depends on how the quality of the pigments used in the color will determine how well the flow is and stuff like that. So they use cheap stuff in this, but I mean, black, man, I go through this stuff times and it's cheap. It's only $1 or so for one of these, So in the mix, I'll use gray or something, and then while it's all wet, in the mix, or if I'm using something like this expensive flex paste stuff, I'll give it a good squirt of black, mix it all up, and then coat it on. That way my coating is already my base color. Okay, I'm going to use some of this black. And then the other thing is I use a lot of washes, I use a lot of washes. I really just kind of got into dry brushing here a little while ago, tell you the truth. I've always just used washes, okay? So, anyways, let me grab some water here. Yeah. I used to be a Boy Scout. So, water to go. Always, store stuff, you never know. In case of an emergency, man, you gotta have some shit on hand to last for a couple or 3 days, right? So water is one of the things. I only paid like 89 cents for this thing, and it's good for 5 years. It's expired now. Says December 2007 is when it expired, but probably okay to drink still, but I use it because I'm Scots and I don't want to waste 89 cents that I spent 5 years ago. I use water for my mixing. Besides, it's nice and contained out here. So, there. Nice black wash. Of course, you know, tap water will work also, right? Hey. Okay. So, a couple different methods. We'll use one that's got 2 coats on it already. Now, with this foam, what you can do also is, do I got any sandpaper? Is on, you know, the occasional rock, like these are all just carved right in there, eh? So some you can, you know, smooth out with sandpaper. It kind of goes white, but I guess if you sand too much. Well, that's the other thing is, that's why sometimes I also go over this stuff with a heat gun. You know, just after I've roughed it all out. This is blue, by the way. That's why I don't really like the blue, is because it pills. Remember I was saying that before. So what I'll do is, after I've carved it out, this one wasn't. This one was heated with a heat gun. Just and what it does is it puts that sort of skim coat back on the styrofoam, eh? But this stuff is so soft, eh? So prior to gooping, you can always push in a couple of these just to offset the rocks. You know, it really makes a big difference, hey, on the look of the wall. If a few of these are, you know, just a little off kilter. If you use like a rock, it'll push in patterns in there too, eh? But I mean, I tell you, this depends on what kind you got down there or over there in the UK. There's a yellow stuff over in UK. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it, but anyways, go to a building supply and you'll find this kind of foam, eh? Or go to some place where they're building and say, hey, can I rummage through your trash, and tell them what you're doing. So if you can do that with a few of those, do that now, or sand them down, or use a rock press in there, okay? So I am using, the hell is this stuff? I buy cheap stuff, eh? You know, so I've got a bunch of cans of this, it was called Cinnabar, and the label looks brown, eh? But when you spray it, it's a friggin' pink. A real hot pink. So I don't know if the reason why I got it for so cheap was because it was mislabeled, or if that's just the color Cinnabar is, eh? But anyways, I don't know what I'm going to use with that. But it was only $1, eh? $1 for a spray can. I'll use it as a base coat on something. So this is black floral aerosol. Does not contain fluorocarbons. Excellent. What's it got for propellant in it? Probably something friggin' nasty. Anyways, we're not going to use much of it, and we're outside anyways. So. Oh, good Lord, it's scented, for fuck's sakes. Mind the language, I'm sorry. Can you believe that, eh? Marketing to women. That's what this is. That's fucking bullshit. That's bullshit. Man, if I smell... That's bullshit. That's like nail polish remover for... Right sakes, women! Don't do that! It's acetone! I mean... When we're working with that in an industrial setting, I've got a respirator on and big industrial green rubber gloves. I mean, it soaks in through your skin. Just because it's floral scented and colored purple doesn't mean it's okay for you to use on your fingers. Don't do that, man. Holy man. Anyways, I'm glad my wife isn't into makeup. Oh, God, I hate makeup. That's gross stuff. Anyways, where was I? Okay, so that's black spray paint on there. This is old black acrylic